In 3, 2, 1, go. So this is Poi. So this game is an indie 3D platformer that released in February, and it takes a lot of inspiration from Super Mario Sunshine. So you're going to notice a lot of like similar mechanics and level designs, and basically it's all around just ripping off Mario Sunshine. Anyways, would my couch like to introduce themselves real quick?
I'm Konasumi.
I am Shockwave.
And I'm Kevridge.
So yeah, let's get into the run. So right at the very bat, we're going to be woken up by this old man. I'm just going to mash through his text because I don't really care what he's saying. And we are going to help him hit this medallion out of a tree. And on my way to do that, I'm going to be collecting a lot of money. And this is super important because there are a lot of things that we need to buy in this run, including like extra missions, items, and like challenge levels and stuff. And oh my god, my movement. There we go.
The movement for this game is kind of tight in some spots, so like doing wall jumps or even doing a double jump. When you do a double jump, you lose all your momentum and then go immediately in the direction that you have the control stick held.
Okay, so I should explain the movement a little more. So there is a trick or a mechanic in this game called diving, and it's the most broken thing in the game. It was actually added like super late in the development cycle, and it turns out that if you dive and you jump the same frame that you land on your dive, not only will you conserve your speed from the dive, but you'll actually gain more speed. So you can use that technically to gain speed infinitely if you can get frame perfect dolphin dives every time, but that's not going to happen every time. But we'll see it a little bit, I'm sure. And this gets easier if you're going down a hill and harder if you're going up a hill.
Yeah, essentially just roll your thumb on the A and X buttons, so you jump and then you hit X and then you just jump again. You just keep doing that forever. And it's basically about the same speed as actually just sprinting. If you hold X, you'll sprint, but that's also really slow compared to just jumping and diving normally.
So now we're being taken to the hub world for the first time in this weird whale air balloon blimp thing. I don't really know what to call it. The old guy's going to explain how to actually use stuff in the hub world, but we already know how to use stuff in the hub world, so we're just going to mash through his text so that we can get to the first world. Once we get to the first world, there's going to be a couple things that we have to do, so we're going to try and get medallions just as fast as possible. We need to get 47 medallions in this run as quickly as we can, and it just so happens to turn out that you have to nearly 100% Cozy Canyon, which is the first world, in order to do this quickly. So we're going to be collecting all of the locations, which are just areas that we have to get to, and all of the fossils, which are just little bones and whatever is scattered in the ground. But we're not going to be doing that yet. First, what we're going to do is we're going to jump pretty much out of the map and make our way over this way. I fell, but that's okay.
Beauty of this game, you can just jump right off the wall out of bounds.
And we are going to grab this, and that right there is a glitch called pause storage. And Shock, do you want to explain that a little bit real quick?
Yeah, sure. So there's two menus that he used there. One, he hits the start button, and that brings up the actual pause menu. Then he restarts it. It brings up another menu, but the start button is still bound to the menu behind that. So this one, so that one, there you go. He hits start to get rid of that back menu, but the game keeps playing and leaves the restart option open. So if you restart after you grab the medallion, it immediately can restart the next level. Because the counter for the medallions counts the moment you touch it, not for some cutscene or something like that.
Exactly. And so we exit to Sky there instead of restarting the level so that we can go back to the hub world because we need to get a shovel so that we can start digging the fossils out of the ground and stuff. So before we can actually get the shovel, we need to come over this way to the slide. And I'm going to be real honest, I messed up part of the routing already for the first level, so I'm going to have to actually run through this slide twice so I have enough money to buy the shovel.
Yeah, money's extremely tight at the beginning of the run because you need 75 coins to buy the shovel, and just generally doing the first 3 medallions, you have to get a lot of coins, and just general routing, it's really hard to get them, so you have to go out of your way to grab the coins, so it's better just to do Super Slide twice if you run out of money.
Unfortunately, there's a cutscene that plays there, so we get taken back to the ship, but it's still faster to do it like this, if anything goes wrong.
So actually, fun fact, this is really not meant to happen. You're not supposed to really do that. So you jump around a death barrier.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, nice save.
Okay. Oh. I'm not sure what my money's going to be looking like after this. I think normally you get 35-ish, right?
Yeah, you normally get about 35 coins.
If you get the diamond and the emerald, yeah.
Mm-hmm. You'll have enough coins. You'll be fine.
Yeah,
So
shout out
now,
to Kevridge.
Like, shout out to
Super slide
Keverage,
king.
the super slide god.
Yeah.
He's gotten like a 5-second time or something. So now we have enough money for the shovel, and I accidentally clicked the thing to go into the world. But we are...
What is that?
That's interesting. Okay, I've never seen that before. All right, anyways, we're going to go back into the hub, or back into the main world here in Cozy Canyon with our new shovel. And the old guy's going to tell us how to use the book, but we don't really use the book at all in the run because it's just a pause menu thing. And we're going to start digging fossils out of the ground, just like that. And so this was one of the things I was supposed to do earlier and just completely forgot about. I was supposed to go in here and unlock this chest and get some money because it's a location that we have to visit anyways, but...
Yeah, those chests also have a random amount of money in them too, which kind of sucks. So he got the most unlucky version, which is no diamonds or emeralds.
Yep.
Diamonds are worth 10 and emeralds are worth 5 coins. But yeah, I mean, he can still get more money in other parts of the levels.
Okay, so for this level, what we're supposed to be doing is we're supposed to try and find this old scientist guy. And we want to help him fix his ship, which you can kind of see over there. But on our way, we're just collecting all the fossils and medallions we can. Just while we're on our way over there. And then we're going to go talk to him because we need to get a ship part for him. And that ship part doesn't spawn until after you talk to him.
Best fossil in the game right here, by the way. It's the moldy Cheerio.
Fun fact, the moldy Cheerio, if you try and dig that fossil up near the wall, it will actually just go straight out of bounds. You can't do anything about it. Like, if it goes out of bounds, you're actually just screwed. You cannot go get it again. And I was not supposed to fall there.
Yeah, the edge of the thing is kind of slippery. So if you just get unlucky, you can just fall.
Right.
There you go. Good save.
So now we're going to go grab this fossil, then get a little bit more money, and one more location on our way to the ship part, which is this way. So I guess now would be a decent time for donations if you have any, Sniper.
You betcha. We've got $50 from M&M. A big thanks to everyone who makes SGDQ possible. You are all awesome.
All right, so now we're going to be going into the space world, or as I like to call it, Super Mario Galaxy. I mean, so we're going to the moon, and we're going to be collecting a bunch of keys, which are pretty much the exact same as red coins in Mario.
You just took
And
a
they're just
trip
scattered
in
around
your
here.
favorite rocket ship.
Soaring through the sky. Are we going to get copyrighted for that?
I don't think so. I'll never make that joke again, I promise.
All right, anyways, we're just going around collecting all the keys. There's 5 keys that we need to get. And they can actually be pretty hard to find because there's not very many landmarks on the moon. But we got them all just fine. I didn't get lost. So now there is a chance that I might be able to skip this next cutscene after I go back to the hub world after collecting this medallion. Most likely not, but we'll see. Nah, we didn't get it. That's fine, though. Basically, whenever you go back to the hub world, the first frame that you're loaded into the hub world, you can actually jump. And if you jump, you can jump towards the compass in the middle that you use to get to the next level. And you can use that to just... Wait.
You missed like you have to go back and do the keys for Cozy Canyon.
Oh, you're right.
Routing changed. There's like the cutscene skip was like introduced recently into the route, so it messed up a little bit of the routing.
Yeah. I completely forgot about that. If you... You have to do a lot of the levels really differently with the cutscene skips. Just like in completely different orders. But we're good now. We're back in the keys. We're going to be getting the rest of the locations, and this is going to be the last medallion we get for now in the hub world, or in the Cozy Canyon.
Yeah, thank goodness for any percent we don't get any of the 100 coin medallions.
Yeah, they're all
Otherwise
just like terribly slow.
It would take you forever to get all the coins. It would be great for money's sake for like getting stuff like the shovel, but it would just be pointless to do any percent.
So now we're just running around grabbing locations, and the reason why we're getting all these locations is partially because it's fast to do so in this, and there's not really a better place to do it, and also partially because we're buying time so that we can get the bird location. So there's a location in this map that is just a bird that is flying around the level, and we are trying to get to a certain spot at the exact same time as the bird, which after we get this fossil over here, ideally, if we did all the timing right and stuff, can I grab this fossil? What? Anyways, the bird will be over by this orange tree after I grab this key. And there he is. So then we're just going to grab the rest of the locations over here. One more fossil, one more key, and then we will be done with Cozy Canyon. And then we're going to be moving on to the massively broken parts of the run.
You want to know a fun fact about pause storage? He does it like over 40 times in this run. It's one of the most insanely easy things to mess up like that. Like, it's just sometimes things are just in the wrong spot or you don't get enough height.
So now I can go talk to that old guy that I was trying to earlier. And he will give me a medallion in exchange for having collected all of the locations, or visiting all the locations in the Cozy Canyon. So we're going to do pause storage on this guy again, except this time we're going to go back to the main menu. Because we still get to skip the cutscene, and it's since we usually time this game in game time, it is significantly faster to go back to the main menu than to wait for the cutscene to finish if you grabbing the medallion. And it's still faster RTA, just not nearly as much of a difference. Now we're going to be doing one more challenge level, and then we're going to move on to the second world in the game, the second main world. This level is Puzzle Tower. Basically, there's just a bunch of moving pieces, and you got to get to the top of it, which can be a little hard. I missed this cycle, but I can just wait a little bit and get back up.
Oh.
If missing that means I have to restart it. I missed a roll jump. Did we ever explain what roll jumping was?
Nah, so there's like several movement mechanics in the game. One is just walking, one's sprinting, one is roll jumping, so if you press X you can roll. One is jump diving, and then the other one is sliding. The fastest form of movement on land is just is technically sliding, but the one when you're walking around is dive jumping, and then roll jumping is the third fastest movement. So if you have a short distance or you're going around corners really quickly, you should just roll jump everywhere, because then you can kind of control your movement and your angles a lot easier than you can with a dive.
So there is a possibility that I could get another cutscene skip here to skip this. Oh, I didn't get it. That's fine. So if you jump the exact same frame that this cutscene starts, you can jump up in the air and then immediately start the level. So you just load into the next world while this cutscene is playing. And it saves like 10 seconds-ish, I think, right?
About 10 to 15, yeah. You just skip the whole fog clearing effect.
But we don't really have a setup for that trick. There isn't that much of a visual cue that you can use. So I just never really hit it.
Well, it's actually even almost impossible to hit on a 144 hertz monitor.
Oh yeah, so fun fact, whenever I say frame perfect in this game, it means frame perfect no matter what frame rate you're playing at. So if you're playing on a 144 hertz monitor, you are actually at a disadvantage in every way in this game.
Mm-hmm. There's a couple tricks that are, like you said, that are frame perfect that are just basically straight up impossible for at least myself and Ace to do, because we have 144 hertz monitors at home. And then there's something later, at least we'll explain possibly if we have time, where it's straight up just really hard for us to do it. This skip's also really finicky just because of the wood. So if you hit the curved surface, then it really just kicks you off.
Yeah. I'm just going to do it around.
Yeah. So this is infinite wall jumping, by the way. Wall jumping will not let you do it on the same surface with the exact same angle, but if you do it on something that has just a slight enough different angle, you can just infinitely scale up something. We're going to use the crap out of that in the last world, because there's just two parts where it's just literally just an obtuse angle of wall, so you can just jump infinitely between them and just scale up to the roof.
So now while we're coming out of this smoke tower here, we're going to abuse text storage for the first time, which basically, if you get a text box on your screen and you cancel the text box, you will actually just exit the cutscene. You'll be allowed to move around again. So while that entire cutscene is playing, I just position myself directly under the medallion so I can grab it during the cutscene that it normally spawns in. So in that instance, we didn't really store the text, we just abused it to have a text box we weren't supposed to in the cutscene. But in a couple medallions from now, we will actually be showing off tech storage in its fullest. So we got to talk to that guy. That's the fossil guy that will spawn in the hub world. We can trade our fossils into him to get our free medallion. And then also he will have a mini game for us that we can do, which has 3 really fast medallions in it.
It's just a classic red keys level. Unfortunately, or actually fortunately for us, all the keys are just right here. There's nothing that's hidden, so it's really easy just to run and jump through everything.
This platforming is actually kind of tight, though, with how small each surface is, and then the fact that you're trying to dolphin dive on top of everything else.
Dolphin diving is really a really weird way of moving around in this game. Because you have to time things perfectly in between of the sections of land that you're going through.
Mixing this guy. All right. So now we're going to go back into the hub world here, and the reason why we're going back to the hub world is that that ship over there that I'm going to fly over to now has a lady on it, and we call her the gear lady because we don't really know what else to call her, but basically you can turn in gears into her in order to get medallions, and they don't spawn until you talk to her. And gears in this game are pretty much the same as blue coins in Super Mario Sunshine. If you get 5 gears, you can trade them in for a medallion. So while we're doing our other objectives, we can just grab a bunch of gears along the way and trade them into her as we're going. So we're going to do pause storage and exit back to the main menu here. And this will get us back on the ship. I'm going to attempt to skip this first cutscene that's coming in. Nah, we didn't get it. Like I said, the timing for that is ridiculously hard.
You can try spam. You can spam, luckily, you can spam spacebar and the A button on the controller, and it'll recognize both inputs at the same time, but even so, it's just still hard to get it right. There's no visual cue or anything to time it, because it's at 60 FPS. It's just really hard.
Normally at home, I actually use a third-party program to limit my frame rate to 45 FPS, which makes it a little easier, but I was not able to do that on this setup, so makes things a little bit more difficult as far as cutscene skips go, but it doesn't really change anything else.
And that's the first gear out of 30, correct, that you're doing? Or was it
Yep.
35?
30.
30.
The 35 gear route was actually slower by a significant margin.
I do an outdated route then.
So right here, we are going and grabbing this 1 gear over here. Now we're going to be doing tech storage. So I am going to talk to this guy and roll and straight off the map so that I can kill myself. And by killing myself and spawning at this checkpoint here, I will be able to have this guy's text on my screen, but still be able to move around. So I can jump right up here where a medallion spawns before it's being thrown across to the obstacle course that you can see there. So I can grab it and skip having to do the entire obstacle course. So now we've unlocked the fossil minigames. There isn't really much to talk about here other than, like, all the fossils are in the same place every time. There's 3 fossils that I have to get, and I don't think there's really much to it other than that. So if you have donation Sniper, this would be another good place to read them.
I do. $20 from Alex188. Greetings from Romania. Now that my exams are done, I can finally enjoy watching you guys demolish so many awesome games and get those nostalgia feels. Congratulations to everyone involved in creating such an amazing event for a great cause. Keep up the good work. $150 from Jimbo Jones. I have multiple sclerosis and am very fortunate to have immediate access to my team of doctors and medications. I consider it a privilege to have the means to donate to doctors providing this level of care and commitment in places around the world much less fortunate than me in Canada. $10 from V. Rainin. Keep up the good work. Heart. You people are amazing. Heart. Heart.
So we've got one last mission here, and then we'll be able to move on to the next world, which we're actually going to be going back to the forest world that we were in the beginning. And there's going to be a lot more objectives and just stuff for us to collect there. And that will be right after we get this medallion. So we're going to go back to Sky. We're going to get a cutscene of the forest world spawning back into the hub world. It's a little ship there that we can take. But before I head over there, I'm going to go buy a telescope from the old guy. And the reason why we're buying this telescope is because we can get 1 medallion incredibly quickly in the forest world with it, and we can use this telescope for a backup strat for a later glitch, which I'll explain if I ever need to. So here we're going to be getting the keys medallion first. Once again, it's just running around grabbing all the keys. We're going to be collecting a little bit of money and a little bit of some gears on the way as well. Let's actually grab that key.
Unfortunately, you can't do a death warp here. It would be really actually kind of nice if you could death warp right there. But if you die there, even if you don't hit that checkpoint, it's still going to spawn you right next to that checkpoint for some reason.
Yeah, we don't really know why, but that's the only place that's really like that has a dedicated death warp place, yeah. So I'm going to run back over here and do pause storage on this medallion, as per usual. And I'm going to equip the telescope, because for this next medallion, there is a star in the sky that I have to look at. And if I look at it with the telescope, a gear will spawn in on one of the logs back here behind the waterfall. But before I do that, I'm going to grab just a little bit of money and that one gear and make my way back up here, collect these coins, and then stare at it in the sky. And it's going to spawn right above my head. So we do pause storage again, restart the level, and we'll be getting one more medallion here.
Awesome!
So this next medallion, we're re-equipping the shovel for this one because it is actually underground. It's an area that kind of looks like a fossil, but is actually an underground tunnel that we have to go through, which is right here. So we're just going to pop ourselves into the tunnel. Now, this tunnel's supposed to be kind of like a maze, but there's only like one choice that you have in directions that you can go, so I'm not really sure if it was supposed to be a maze or not.
Also, praise the mole.
Oh yeah, praise the mole. Praise the mole gods. So we're going back to the hub world here. We're going to trade in some gears after this cutscene plays. We're going to get our first gear medallion, and then after that, we'll be doing quite possibly the most exciting mission in the game. It's a Superman 64, the Rings mission. Oh, wrong menu. So the reason why I'm playing in slot 2, by the way, is because in-game time is completely messed up on anything but slot 2 and 3. Or, well, so basically just slot 1.
Yeah, on slot 1, if you start the game and then you reset a run at the beginning of the forest stage, the in-game timer doesn't reset on file 1, so sometimes you can just have ridiculous in-game time.
I think one time someone had like a 1-hour run that was 2 hours, according to in-game time or something like that.
It would explain why I've never PB'd, because I always use slot 1 and I keep resetting on the forest stage. So sometimes I would PB like in real time by like 2 minutes, and then all of a sudden I wouldn't PB. Because this game actually has in-game leaderboards. They actually were kind enough to make those for us.
For ILs, they work perfectly.
Yeah, for
but
ILs,
on
they work
this
perfectly.
patch that we have to play on for speedruns, it just doesn't work for full game runs. So now we're just flying through the rings here. There's not really any way to really speed this up. There was a glitch that I messed around with, at least for a little bit, where you can get like super speed in this level pretty much, but you can only get it at the very bottom of the map, so and you still have to hit the rings, so it's not very useful. Now, after this medallion, we're going to be moving on to the next world. And the next world is going to have another text storage abuse, but it's going to be the first time that we abuse fossil canceling, which I will explain whenever I get to it, because there's one medallion I need to do first. So I'm going to attempt to skip this cutscene. No. I have one more chance to skip a cutscene. There's 2 different ways to skip cutscenes here. If I can time the jump, nah. That's perfectly fine, though. So the first medallion I'm going to get here is actually one of the easier ones. Normally, I would put off the easier medallions to grab at the end of the levels, or at the end of the worlds, and get the harder ones out of the way first. But even though this one's really easy, there's a cutscene that plays at the very beginning of the level unless you do this this medallion first. So we're going to make our way over to the bell tower. Going to jump up this way. Normally that guy doesn't hit me. That's weird. Normally if you roll, most enemies just cannot hit you at all.
It's sort of like in Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. You have like those invincibility frames when you're doing your roll.
So now we just got to point this water jet at this clearly dirty bell tower to clean it off. And a medallion's going to pop out of it, and we can grab it.
They hide those things in the darnest places.
It's crazy how you need to get it out with water.
Literally Super Mario Sunshine.
So normally, I would have gotten up there with the first jump, but I messed up a little bit. We'll just jump back up here normally. And I'm going to exit the sky here because I need to re-enter the world on a different medallion and not just restart the same level over and over again. And now we won't have to worry about the cactus lady talking to us at the beginning of each level. So now I'm going to be doing the glitch I was talking about, which is fossil canceling. So first what we got to do is make our way this way. We're going to be doing a mix of just dolphin dives and roll dives to get over to this area over here and collect some money along the way. And now we're going to grab this checkpoint. We need this checkpoint for whenever we do tech storage later, because we want to be able to spawn there. So now I have to wait by this switch until this thing is kind of in the middle. That'll be good enough. And now I'm going to roll jump onto the top of this thing, which will actually let me push it a little bit faster. It looks a little stupid. But don't worry, it is the fastest way. And now I have to roll into the sand and interact with that sign at the same time. And I'm going to use this text on my screen to skip the cutscene of this platform over here rising out of the ground. Or rather, not skipping it, but allowing myself to move around it. So now I'm going to sit here just at the top of the tower and wait for the medallion to spawn. And whenever I grab this medallion, the cutscene's going to end. And whenever the cutscene ends, it is going to give me movement of my character again. So I can use that to go and jump into the sand again, which will give me movement while I have this screen up. And then using the keyboard, I can dig I can use my shovel to dig this fossil out of the ground and then overwrite the screen that would normally force us to just leave the level with the fossil screen.
Nice job, by the way.
Yeah, these glitches are all like super finicky and incredibly like stupid to do sometimes.
Sometimes the controls when you get to the top of the tower can just straight up not work, or sometimes they'll reverse, sometimes they just go the direction you're pointing, and sometimes they just don't work, so.
You kind of have to react on the fly to whatever happens. Fortunately, my controls were just normal there. So now we're going to be doing the hide and seek mission. This girl wasn't very good at hiding because we could see her as soon as we started the hide and seek, but that's okay. We'll let her believe she did a good job. So now after I grab this medallion here, I am going to do another really difficult skip. So normally for this medallion, you would have to go and fix this train that's in front of us here. But the only reason that you unlock or that you fix the train is because the train will go around this track and eventually unlock the gates to an area over here that has the medallion in it. But the developers were kind enough to just leave a tiny little hole in the top of this gate that if you position yourself perfectly, you can jump through. This is actually like a little harder than it looks to make because the gate does try and actively push you out.
Good job.
But we got it just fine there. Wait, nope, not exit the sky. Still one more medallion, or two more medallions actually.
Yeah.
So now the next medallion I'm going to get is Keys, which is another red coin medallion. But this one is actually kind of hard, but it's also one of my favorites in the game.
It's got some pretty slick platforming, to be honest.
So all of the keys are up on these rafters. So we're just going to run around and jump off all the rafters and get all the keys. Doing a mix of roll, jump, and dives and stuff. Other than that ledge grab at the end, that was a really good keys, honestly. So now we're going to fall onto this medallion. I have to wait a little bit or I won't actually be able to pause in time from coming out of the cutscene in order to get pause storage. So now I'm going to be doing a trick here that I like to call cactus boosting. There's a cactus over here that's hanging out that if you touch the top of it, you can, if you touch the top of it, okay, you can boost yourself all the way up here and up to this radio tower. And then up here, there's like this little kid's toy thing where you have to match the shapes, you know, in the middle, that this professor over here was having a hard time figuring out, so he asked us to help him with it. So you're just going to push all these things in place, collect a few locations and gears along the way. And that fixes the radio tower that was broken. I just forgot to press pause there.
Yeah, so as I said, there's over 40 pause storages, so messing up one is like uncommon to mess it up. Especially because of that one, you have a very small height difference between the top of your player model and the medallion. So if you do, unless you jump like sideways, you have a couple frame window to do the pause storage correctly.
Fortunately, with that one, we had to go back to the hub world anyways. So we only lost like a few seconds from not getting the pause storage there, as opposed to having to completely re-enter the world on some medallions. But thank God it wasn't on another medallion. So now we're going to be doing some more challenge levels. We unlocked some more whenever we were getting medallions. So we're just going to run through these as quickly as possible. Get as many as we can. So, oh, I almost got the cutscene skip there. I jumped forward, but not enough. So now we're forced to come back to the ship here and watch this really long cutscene of the old guy opening up the hatch. So we're going to come back over here. We're going to trade in 2 sets of gears, so 2 sets of 5, and get ourselves 2 medallions, and then we're going to go do another challenge mission. So the first one we're not going to do pause storage on because we do need to just stay here to collect another medallion. So let's go get that second one.
Just hit her with a roll.
Don't worry about it. So I'm going to re-enter the file, and then we're going to go back to the challenge guy, do our last challenge mission for the game. Or for the run, I should say. This next one is like super RNG heavy, and I hate it, but it's fast, so I have to do it. Basically, all these platforms will fall out, but they fall out in a random order, so you can kind of just get screwed by certain platforms falling out. So you have to be like super careful what platforms you're standing on, what platforms you're moving towards. We didn't get screwed this time though, so we're completely good. And now we're going to be moving on to the next main world, which is the snow world.
The snow world's actually the fastest world. You get like 4 medallions in the span of like 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's super short. So I'm going to jump over this way. And the snow world's actually a little different than the rest of the worlds. There's actually 2 smaller worlds that are like the entire snow world. So for this first world, we're just going to jump over this way, collect this gear and some money, and wall jump back up here, and jump into this medallion. So I just hit cancel, didn't I?
Yeah, you moved over to the left.
I was holding left there so I could actually fall into the medallion, but that's okay.
It's not super painful. The game's actually nice enough to spawn you back on the snow world. It's the only world where you'll actually spawn right next to the travel point besides the 4 main ones.
Okay, so I should mention, in both of these snow worlds, there are 2 medallions that we're collecting. One is a stationary medallion, one is a moving medallion. That was the moving one I just got. That one just tries to move away from you at all times on a track. So it can be a little finicky to get sometimes. But this next one we're getting is the stationary one for this world, which is a lot easier. It just stays there. But now we are moving on to the second world, which also has a moving medallion in it. So I hope that I don't screw that one up.
Both of the moving ones are just kind of finicky in general because you have to just do the pause storage and hope that you don't miss. There you go.
There we go. This entire game's like pretty finicky, honestly.
Yeah. The movement engine is very tight in some areas.
So we're going to grab the stationary medallion and exit the sky. And we're going to be done with the snow world. And now we're going to be moving on to the maze, which you can see here in this cutscene. This would probably be a good place to read donations once I get into it. But I want to explain a little bit of it first. So basically, it's just a desert maze. You have signs pointing in directions. Some point in the right direction, some don't. And we just want to get through it as fast as possible. But the directions are always the same every time, so we can just roll, jump, and dive our way through it.
All right, we got $30 from Trina Wolfie. SGDQ is one of the biggest things I look forward to every summer. It's great to see all my favorite speedrunners run for a good cause. Can't wait to sit here and listen to hup, 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 hup for the next 40 minutes.
I knew that donation was coming.
$5 from Matsy. Shoutouts to Ace for running Poi. I wish you the best of luck with the run, and I wish I could have been there. Also, don't fail barrier skip. Good luck.
I just bought the wrong mission.
Did you buy easy?
Yeah.
You should get the money back if you restart, though, right?
You don't. So it means I'm going to have to collect quite a few emeralds in normal, which, it's fine. There's plenty of money in this level. I'm just going to have to take a lot of wrong turns in order to get some money.
Yeah, it's weird. The game sort of rewards you for going the wrong direction by giving you money. So it almost like tells you, hey, come over here, we'll give you some money.
It's great for us. It means that if we don't have enough money whenever we get to this part, we just have some money we can grab easily.
Got $20 from Mr. Hug. Hi to you all. Having watched GDQ for some years now, I've been wanting to try my own hand at speedrunning for some time. Earlier this year, I gave Poi a shot, and I very much enjoyed it. I was amazed at how helpful the community was to help me get my sea legs. Good luck on the run, Ace.
So, got one more here, and this one actually has a skip, sort of.
You bought the wrong mission again.
There's coins in here. I can grab them.
Yeah.
Actually, is there enough?
So if you're curious why that's happening, there's like no menu lag half the time, so it's really easy to just do something wrong on a menu.
I didn't get enough coins.
I'd say just probably might have to come back.
I have to go to normal and collect more emeralds.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, normal's good.
Got $5 from Infinity Dave. Sorry, Poi, your princess is in another franchise. $5 from Kilmo. Greetings from Waterford, Michigan. Haven't slept for about a day. I've just been watching this amazing event.
All right, we've got all the money we need again. So now we're gonna go actually do the hard mission for this. So like I was saying, there is an actual skip for this one. So there is a point where it looks like you're gonna be going the wrong way because the game will show you a dead end sign. You'll be able to see it in just a little bit after I take a left here. There's a dead end sign, but you can actually just jump straight past it and make it straight to the castle. Normally you'd have to like make this long way around that the game leads you at. It's like a good 5 seconds slower, I think.
Yeah, you have to just go around instead of going straight.
Yeah. We can shave a little bit of time there. So now we're going to be turning in some more gears here. We're going to be getting 2 more medallions from the gear lady before we return to Cozy Canyon for the second time.
You
Go
really
ahead and
like
get the
rolling
second
into
one.
her, don't you?
It's fast, what can I say? Alright, so now re-enter the file. We're going to be going back to Cozy Canyon now, so I gotta go turn the compass all the way this way. We have to do this anyways for the 4th world, or the 5th world that unlocks. It's all the way to the left, so it's not we're not wasting any time by going back to Cozy Canyon here, because we'd have to scroll past it anyways. But the reason why we come back to Cozy Canyon now instead of doing this medallion later is because now we've unlocked gears in Cozy Canyon, because we didn't have those originally. So while we're doing the Hide and Seek Girls mission here, we're going to be collecting 3 different gears before we find her. First one's over here. It's off to the side. We're going like a really long and convoluted way to actually get to her, but it's just so that we can get all these gears. Now the last one is over by that gate that we saw earlier in Cozy Canyon. So I'm just gonna make my way over that way. Where am I? Oh, okay. Whatever. Alright, the medallion's on the other side of this gate, so we're just gonna jump into it and wall grab there. Now we're going to get the medallion from her, and we're going to move on to the last world in the game, which is the hardest and most finicky world by far, which is Crystal Caverns. So right off the bat, there is an incredibly difficult glitch. It's another fossil cancel, but this one has really dumb timing and lots of running around in cutscenes and stuff. It's a huge pain, to say the least.
And also a huge chance of just messing up your controls if you're me.
Yeah. So, fun fact, Shockwave actually cannot do this glitch at all for some reason, because every single time he tries to do it on his computer, it just reverses his controls in a random direction each time or something, right?
Yeah, or sometimes I'll be walking one direction and immediately Poi starts freaking out and starts doing a disco dance sideways. Or I'll try to jump off an edge, then I'll just lose all momentum. So it's like almost impossible for me to do that glitch. Sometimes I get it, but most of the time I have to just not do it.
So now for this mission, we have to go and turn on the lights. And the way we do that is by pushing these 3 buttons to turn on the power in the middle. Or to turn on a big button in the middle that will then turn on the power. So we're just going to run around and hit all these buttons real quick.
That checkpoint, by the way, is very key to the glitch he's about to do.
Yeah, that checkpoint is what we're going to be spawning at whenever I suicide to move around in cutscenes. So now that we've activated this button right here, we are going to talk to this ghost and roll off at the same time. He's not in the best position for this, but I can make it work. There we go. So I'm just going to roll back down over to where that big button was. And I've got 2 text boxes to work with here. So I can jump once and get myself on top of the button, cancel the cutscene with the text box, and suicide so that I can move around this cutscene. And now we're going to run along the top of this wall here while this cutscene is playing of this medallion falling down. And we're going to go get an entirely different medallion while this cutscene is playing. Because it's actually, like, we can just go get this thing while this cutscene plays. So I have to wait here. Grab this medallion. The cutscene's going to end fully. I have to wait a little bit, grab this fossil, and if I did that the right time, which I did, I will be able to move around again and then go get the medallion I got earlier.
Don't restart.
So if you try and do any form of pause storage while you are confused by a bat like that, you will be stuck confused permanently. So I have to intentionally wait a little bit there for the confusion to go away so that that doesn't happen. Like, you'll actually just be confused until you restart your game. It's pretty much a soft lock.
So this is the infinite wall jump, by the way.
I said, yeah, there's the infinite wall jump. We use it so that we can try and make this first cycle here, which we made.
Nice.
But I'm not going to get this medallion here. I'm actually going to jump past it because there's another medallion that I can grab over here first. And we're going to use the infinite wall jump. It's kind of hard to see the walls in the dark here, but I can assure you that they are there. And now we're going to grab this medallion in a cage. Normally you'd have to do like this really long and dumb obstacle course. But the cage is just sitting there, and there's a corner right next to it that we can wall jump up, so we just do that instead. So now I'm going to be doing the exact same route, pretty much, except I'm actually going to grab the medallion that I passed earlier. I think this is it.
Yeah.
It should be exit sky. Hold on. There we go. I hit cancel again. Oh my god. That's fine though. We were exiting the sky anyway, so just a couple seconds lost there. So now we're going to re-enter the level, and the reason why we need to re-enter the level here is because the next medallion we're going to be getting, you cannot get unless you enter this specific medallion, because there's a cutscene that will play where this guy's like, hey, go save our spy ghoulie, because he's lost, and so we're going to go find him. So we're going to make our way sort of in the same direction, except now we're going to actually go into this tunnel over here and into this mine shaft, because this is where our spy is. So I'm going to do a couple wall jumps so I can get this checkpoint and then jump and grab this gear. Then we're going to make our way back over here, get on top of this ladder, and we're going to talk to this lovely ghoulie up here that we love to call Pearstrike the Ghost. Shout out to Pearstrike. And now this is the last medallion we're going to be getting from inside of a level in the game. So we're going to exit back the sky here, and now I'm going to go jump on top of the airship, because the hide-and-seek girl from earlier is hiding up there. She's been hiding up there since the beginning of the game, but we haven't had a reason to go talk to her yet. The reason why we want to go talk to her is because she actually gives us medallions for accomplishing certain tasks in the game. So we're going to be getting a medallion from her for getting a certain amount of locations, which I believe is 30, right?
Yeah, it's 30 locations.
So yeah, 30 total locations, which we've gotten over the course of the run, and we'll be able to get a medallion from her for doing that. So first we're going to go and trade in this gear right here. And the reason why we're doing this in the way that we're doing is because we're actually setting up cutscenes in a specific way so that we get a very specific cutscene to play whenever we do a glitch later. So I mentioned in the game that there are 47 total medallions that we need to get in the run. And the reason why is because the last world in this game unlocks at 47 medallions, but you normally cannot actually get past the gate that is in the last world until you have 60 medallions and a clue stone. But we're going to be doing a fancy little glitch here that Shock can explain while I set it up.
Yeah, so he's doing the 47th medallion because if he comes back into the hub world after having a 47th medallion, he's going to go to the last area of the game. But we need a really specific and unique glitch to be active, which is only available on the patch that he's playing on. So we're playing on the release version of the game because this glitch we're going to do is actually like very easy for a casual player to do accidentally. It involves the mole creatures that we saw in Forest. There's one at the beginning of Sinking Sands. You can also do this in Mount Magma and technically in Forest if you wanted to. But the moles throw these rocks at you. After a while, they just will shrink and despawn. So when he jumps on it at the right time...
Not like that.
Yeah, not like that. This is also really finicky. He just has to time this in his head.
There we go. Shrink down to the size of a pixel.
Yep, so now he is... This is called Poi because we wanted a rhyming name because it's cooler. But you shrink, you get on that thing, and when it shrinks, it just drags you with it and shrinks you to the size of a pixel. We need this because there's a door in this level that has a basically 1 pixel wide gap that we can walk through. Otherwise, you have to come here, do this cutscene, go get these collectibles, grab 13 more medallions, and then come back, and then the door will open. Or we can just walk right through it.
It takes like an extra 25 minutes to do all that.
Yeah. Or you can just walk through the door.
Yeah, easy as that.
So
So this part of the glitch is incredibly finicky. So if you do anything wrong here, like you bump a wall in the wrong way, you enter the air at all, you'll actually lose the small poi. So we need to just be careful and not touch anything going up to the door in the wrong way, because technically, if I lose this, the run is completely dead.
Nice.
Yeah.
That just saved 25 minutes. You hit a checkpoint, you're fine.
I know.
Yep, so that door also, it's not a solid flat door. It's a door that has a very small little trim on the bottom and edges of it. And when you're a small, like, pixel poi boy, your hitbox changes, sort of like Storage in Wind Waker in a way. You'll just, like, walk up the door, and if you walk up the door, there's no way down. You'll just fall in the air and then reset Smoi Poi.
So now this part, we're just running around and pushing all these buttons. There's a certain order that you have to push them in based on their color. And the reason why we're pushing them is that we can turn on these lights. And we need to point each of these colored lights at their respective crystals, which it takes a little bit, and there's not really much to talk about other than that. So now would be a good time for donations as well.
You got it. We've got $200 from Healy Bomb. Just says, great cause and awesome runs. Also, the Shovel Knight Spectre of Torment Beto's Big Break incentive is still at like $900 away from being met. So make sure you get your donations in. We've just got the Tony Hawk block, I Am Bread, and Hollow Knight between that. There's also a file name incentive and bid war and an armor color bid war. Augustus and Green are in the lead for those. We've got $10 from Goncalo. Says, small donation for a great cause. This game looks lovely, and I'm excited to see Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 on the stage up next. Keep being awesome and save those animals. $100 from Bayonet. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 is probably the run I'm looking forward to the most this SGDQ. I spent so many hours on this game, I could probably be speedrunning it myself by now. May even do so.
So now we're wrapping up this whole light and crystal thing. This is the last one we got to point. And after we do this, it will trigger a cutscene, which will cause a little platform, I guess. I don't know what else
It's
to
like a
call it.
spiral tower.
Yeah, a little spiral
Yeah.
tower to rise out of the ground. And on top of it, there's a little trigger. And whenever we touch that, it will destroy the barrier around that island you can kind of see in the background there. And after we do that, we'll be able to go over to that island and do the final platforming challenge that exists in the game before the final boss. So this cutscene of it getting destroyed. I wish there was a way to skip this because it's kind of long, but
Yeah, fortunately you can't really pause storage this because you have to wait for this cutscene to finish in order for it to go there because there's no way to actually just travel there.
so now you can see there's another like little light thing. So once we touch that, we're gonna get a couple more text boxes. And the final platforming challenge is going to rise up in front of us. So this is supposed to be really long and hard, but we can just make it really short and hard instead using the wall jump mechanic, pretty much, the infinite wall jumping.
There's also a couple neat like platforming tricks that are basically exclusive to this area. You can use them in some other areas, but they would never be useful just because of the distance. Here in this level, like some of them become useful because there's such a big gap you have to cross.
So I've gotten past the first platforming area. I'm going to grab a checkpoint over here just as safety. Not too far out of the way, so. Then I'm going to roll jump over this way. And then wall jump up this platform over here. Now make my way up this ladder. And now these platforms are a little weird to be on in general. I didn't get to see what the pattern was there until I was actually on it. But you gotta just kind of like see the pattern and immediately just start avoiding the ones that are next. Like the ones that flip over next. Which unfortunately I wasn't able to do there, but I should be fine the next go around. I'm gonna damage boost off the spike here. Get a little bit of height a little faster. Oh. Alright, we're good. So this is one of the movement things that Shock was talking about that's exclusive to here. So we're on a moving platform here, and if you roll off of a moving platform, you'll conserve all the speed, so we can use that to actually get over to this part a little faster. This is a little dangerous because we skip over a checkpoint that we would normally get because of it, but it is so much faster that it is always worth it to go for it. So we're going to wall jump on top of this wall, and then on top of this platform right here, and we'll be done with this section. So now I'm going to be abusing the roll thing again, except now I'm going to be jumping along with it. I'm going to try and jump along with it so that it can conserve some speed and get some height as well. We'll be using that on the next section too, and hopefully doing it a little better. Oof, that was close. All right. So I'm going to wait till I get a little closer to it. And I missed the jump. That's fine, though.
That's also just finicky as well.
So now I'm going to wall jump up this corner instead of trying to time a jump through that little flamethrower wall because I still make it onto the same cycle. And now I'm going to make my way over to the final boss. And or maybe not.
Threaded the needle in the wrong way.
It's fine. I actually want to do this section again. It's a lot of fun, in my opinion. Yeah, we're going to make our way over to the final boss, except we're not actually going to do the final boss because the final boss is long. It's like 5 minutes to beat. And also on the first patch, it's incredibly broken, and there's a chance that it can be completely unbeatable. What'd you say, Shock?
It's on high frame rates, and it's stupidly hard.
Yeah. So instead of doing the final boss, we're going to jump over here, and then I'm going to walk off of this pillar, and I'm going to enter the cutscene and die at the same time. And so now my camera's going to be stuck over here, but there's an item actually I can grab that whenever I grab it, it ends the game. Yeah, whenever I grab this, it'll be time. So I can't really see, but I'm just kind of guessing where I need to jump. There we go, time. And by grabbing this item, we completely skip the final boss and end the game. Also, shout-outs to the 2 old men that are on screen right now. The first old man is supposed to be in the cutscene that plays right before the final boss, but he's still there since we skipped it. So yeah, that's Poi.
That is Poi.